Hi everybody, welcome to 5 Minute Ministries. Now before GPS or even the original Google Maps, if you wanted to get somewhere and you did not know how to get there, there were only three ways to do it. The first was a paper map. You open it up, it was the area or state you were in, and it had all kinds of roadways that you could follow to get there. Or you had someone verbally or write down the directions on how to get there. Or you followed somebody to get to that particular destination. And if you did not follow the map, or you did not follow the instructions, or you lost sight of the person whom you were following, you got lost and you had to find your way back. Now, I bring this up because people are always in search of God's will, but most people are only in search of God's will for their personal life. And what I mean is they want to know, hey God, where should I go to church? Where should I go to school? What job should I have? Whom should I marry? Should I have this group of friends? Should I have that? Should I buy this car? And should I buy this house? And they have all kinds of those questions because they want God to direct their lives. It's kind of like the same reason people go to psychics. What does my future hold? What's in this for me? And unfortunately, for some people, that's where God's will stops for them. Direct me in my personal life so I don't go astray and I don't get hurt. But God's will is bigger than that. And I'm equating it to the methods on how to get somewhere, at least in the olden days, so to speak, because that is how God directs us to know His will. First of all, He gave us the instructions already. He gave us His word to follow, the things that He wants us to do, not on a personal level, but the things He wants us to do in order to serve Him, in order to advance His kingdom, and to do His will. He gave it to us right there in His word. The things that we need to know are there. He wants us to serve Him. He wants us to tell others about Him. He wants us to be representatives of Him. And He told us how to do it in His word. He gave us the map, so to speak. And He also has us follow Him. Now, I want to give two biblical examples of this, where God tells somebody to follow Him. Now, first is in Genesis, the very early Genesis 7, where He calls a man named Abram, and He says, Abram, leave your father's house and go to a place where I will tell you. God doesn't tell him where he's going. God doesn't tell him how to get there. God just says, follow me. Now, in the Gospels, Jesus tells the same thing through the 12 disciples. He just says, follow me. That's all He tells them. Now, there are other interactions in there too, but He doesn't tell them where they're going. He doesn't tell them what's going to happen. He doesn't give them very much information. He just says, follow me. And that is the most important thing. That you want to know God's will, follow Him. Do what He says. Follow the map that He has laid out for us already. Don't sit and wait for God to give instructions. He's already given instructions. And I want to justify this. You want to know God's will for your personal life? First of all, as in Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6 say, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. So if you start following Him, He will show you where to go and what to do. Like if you want to go somewhere on this earth, you don't just sit at home and wait for that place to come to you. You don't sit there and wait. You go out and you go to that place. You follow the directions. God requires the same thing of us. Now in Matthew chapter 6, Jesus gives this whole thing about don't worry about what you're going to wear, don't worry about what you're going to eat, don't worry about your life. He says in Matthew 6:33, seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, then all these things will be added to you. If you start following God, God will direct you where He wants you to go. And then those personal questions will be answered in light of His will, instead of you sitting around waiting for God to answer you. Because you'll already be following Him, you'll already be in His will, and then He will send those things to you. This has been 5 Minute Ministries, and I'll see you next time.